If you've been unlucky with your shard pulls in Raid Shadow Legends, Drexthar Bloodtwin, a free legendary champion from the Demonspawn faction, might be your first introduction to the HP burn debuff that does 3% of enemy max HP damage right there per tick. Best used for champions or bosses that have multiple arts like the spider, or even 3 to 4 Hydra heads right there. And this champion works whether you're middle game, early game, or even all the way to the late game. In this video, I'm going to be showing you where I use this champion both for early game content, and I'll show you your end game build that I currently have on him. So it's not a champion that you use in the middle of the game or in the beginning of the game and then forget about later. No, I rebuild this champion and it currently works in my end game content teams. So I'll take you to his skills first of all that he's best known for in Raid. He's best known for the HP burn debuff. Now this champion might have a hard time placing the HP burn at first. He's not even the best one that does it in terms of HP burn in the game, but he's one of the champions that can sustain HP burn debuff on enemies, because whenever they hit him, that's when the HP burn can be placed on them more consistently. And that has to do with the passive right there. A 55% chance that can be booked up to a 75% chance right there to place HP burn for 2 turns on enemies that attack him when they hit him. It seems like it's a 50% chance. No, it will land a lot. 75% chance, if of course with Masteries boost up a little bit to make it a 80% chance of making sure the enemies take HP burn on themselves whenever they hit this champion. So that's a little bit downside where a lot of people don't like to use him. He has to be hit in order to have the HP burn on the enemies. Now his A1 does have the HP burn also on the A1, but that's not a consistent way of placing HP burn. You want AoE HP burn, and his passive makes that happen. So this champion's resistance increases by 10% for every enemy under HP burn debuff, so he can stack up to 50 more resistance plus the one he already has right there. So that's what he brings to your teams. A lot of times when people use Drexthar, this is the reason why they use him, for that passive. You will not see people using Drexthar for his A2 skill, which has a provoke. I can only think of one place, and I'll show you a sample run where I use this provoke as the main reason why I have Drexthar on my team. Well, maybe the second reason. So this provoke has also a condition. It's not a provoke that can just go out there and provoke everybody. No, it's a 60% chance when booked of placing this provoke on all enemies, right? But the chance increases to 100% if the target is under HP burn. Another condition. So Drexthar wants to start the battle with this provoke, but most of the time the enemies don't have HP burn on them. He will most likely land it on some and land it on the others, and not land it on the others. I'll do a sample run in the dungeons and you see that happen when Drexthar opens with this A2 skill. You see him not landing his provoke on 100% of the enemies, which is not a good thing. All right. Also places and decrease attack also debuff for 2 turns if the provoke lands. So it's not just a provoke, it also goes with decrease attack, which is a awesome champion you need for PvP content. PvE content, I mean, to decrease the attack of the enemy so you take less damage. This champion is usually used in the leader slot in the early game, but in the later game some people still use him in the leader slot if they want this accuracy to a little bit higher. So increase accuracy in all battles by 70. That's what makes him viable to be used in the leader slot in any content right there. So his A1 kind of gives him a little bit of heal, but it's not a consistent or reliable heal. You still need this champion to keep himself alive with other sets or with other champions that can help him keep himself alive, because requesting for that provoking a lot of enemies means he will take a lot of damage. So let's head over to my Drexthar build and I'll show you his artifacts, sets, masteries, and I'll also recommend that the best set for this champion, the best set hands down, whether you're in middle game, beginner game, or even late end game, the best set you can put on your Drexthar is by far Lifesteal. So if I switch to recently used champions, and that's my Drexthar right there, I did not use Lifesteal on him. I just have to put it out there so newer players don't come in here and put perception in their early game dungeon 20 Drexthar. No, you need Drexthar in the early game in all content. I'm talking about dungeons, even in the clan boss. Yes, Drexthar is viable in early game clan boss. Why is it so viable in the clan boss? Because the clan boss will keep putting HP1 on himself, and Drexthar has a triple hit on that A1, which also makes him viable for Fire Knight. Every dungeon in that early game needs lifesteals to survive. not just your beginner starter champion Kale or Aether or whoever that needs lifesteal. Champions that go along with him, like Terrell, like Warmaiden, whoever, usually also Vogot, they all need lifesteal in that early game. Now in end game content, you might not value lifesteal so much because by then you have other champions that can keep your team alive. But I have to stress it, lifesteal is the best set I'll put on Drexthar. The only reason why I did not put lifesteal on him because it did not give me the crazy high amount of accuracy that I need. It did not give me the crazy amount of high resistance that I was trying to go in for. And of course, Drexthar no longer features in my clan boss teams. That's why I was like, why do I need lifesteal? Drexthar no longer features in my dungeons, like my Fire Knight or my Ice Golem or any of those things. That's why I was like, no need for lifesteal anymore. So, but if you use this champion for even, what do you call it? Spider only, lifesteal might be the best for you. Clan boss, lifesteal might be the best for you. So that's the set that I'm talking about, the beginner set that everybody values so much. I don't even keep a lot of it anymore because my account is way past this set. All right, so now in the middle to the end game, where do I use Drexthar since he's no longer a champion I use in those dungeons anymore? I'll do the dungeons runs, you'll see them, that is still viable there. But for end game players who are forgotten about your Drexthar, he's in your vault. You'll have better champions doing HP burn like Mordecai, right? You still need Drexthar for two places. One is the Hydra. He's awesome right there because of that provoke on that head that needs to be provoked. Decrease attack also that can be placed on that head. And then the HP burn that is consistently being placed on all the heads. He can be your main source of your main source of HP burn for the Hydra. And he's tanky enough with a defense-based damage to survive all the hits that are coming in. He also has enough high resistance to not be able to debuffed by that head that always wants to steal your buffs. So that's one way to go about him. This high accuracy build you're looking at is mostly to meet that high demand of that Hydra. Another place where Drexthar can be viable in the end game is in Doom Tower. Doom Tower is also an end game. I'm not talking about Doom Tower normal. When you get him, of course, at first he will help you beat Doom Tower normal if you have not already done so. But you need a special build like this in order for Drexthar to help you in Doom Tower hard, because that content requires increasing high amount of accuracy. I'm talking about 300 accuracy and above, 300 resistance and above. So of course, the higher you go above that, the better for you. So anything 350, 380, 400, that's the range you need for that type of content. And that's why you see me putting a 3-piece set of perception on this champion. All right, beside perception and lifesteal, which other sets can be viable for Drexthar to be used in? If you do not have good stats from these sets that I'm talking about, I wonder why you wouldn't have good stats from perception though. This champion needs high amount of accuracy and resistance to survive and to live long. Some people might say regen set, some people might say relentless set to make him do his A1 more. No, I don't think any sets are that great for Drexthar. Maybe increase his chance of placing provoke, stalwart sets if you use him in the clan boss. I'm just calling out random sets right now, but I've called out my two favorite sets that I will build on Drexthar any day, anytime: perception and lifesteal. But if you don't have good stats from them, you can do a mixture of sets and make that your stats happen for you. All right, let me show off some of my stats. I did not take them to 16 because I'm waiting for artifact enhancement to make that happen, but I'll show you the total stats at the end. Right there, I've not even glyphed them up. Woo! I'm supposed to glyph this up before I do this recording, but anyways, the expected stat that I'm looking to get from what I'm looking for is accuracy and resistance. Speed, not so much. Defense is extremely high on this champion. That's why I'm putting a defense chest right there. Defense glove. I'm not looking for crit rate or crit damage on this champion. He is a tank. He will provoke and he will get hit. I don't want him to. He will do most of his damage or 90% of the damage through HP burn. That's what he does for my teams. I'm not looking to put crit rate or crit damage on him. Although if you're going to use him on PvP or some other crazy build, you might want to put crit rate or crit damage on him. But that's not my priority. I want him tanky to survive. That's why I went this way. You will not even see me going towards accuracy on the banner because I have enough accuracy from the sets. So I went towards resistance right there and more defense. I'm not even having speed substats on this one. Oh, I do have speed substats. I thought that was defense. And defense right here, not crit damage. And of course, defense. This high amount of defense is going to get me about 5,200 or 5,300 defense when I max it out. So that's too much. That's going too much, I know. But 4,000 defense is fine. 3,005 if you're level 20 content is fine if you're still early game. But I went the max defense that I could. I even prioritized defense over HP on this champion because that's what it needs to survive. But of course, if you can get to 50 to 60k HP, it's ideal. By the time I glyph up my stuff and max out my gear, I will get to 50k HP. That's my range. Speed is not important, like I said, on this champion, but he gets hit and they get the HP bond. So, but you want him taking turns if you have him in life still. So I didn't go for 250 speed. I wasn't aiming for that. That's why defense is that high. Now resistance and crit rate, crit damage, I've already talked about it. Nope, not priority. Resistance is a little bit priority for the content I use this champion in. Example, the spider. No spiderling will be able to put poison on Drexthar. That's the number one thing. If you have him going as your spider tank in the spider, you want him high resistance so he can't be put on any debuff on himself. Also, which other content might he benefit from that type of a thing? Not even the Hydra. He doesn't need that for the Hydra. Maybe high resistance to make him be the tank that nobody can steal debuff and boss from him. That can also help him, I guess. But the main thing for the Hydra, I think, is accuracy. The spider does not this type of accuracy. Doom Tower also, they do need the type of accuracy. You don't care much about resistance in the Doom Tower except you're going against those bosses. I'm talking about the Nether Spider, the Eternal Dragon. You know, there are places where Drexthar just shines as the champion who places HP bomb while others are helping him stay alive. I'll show one run of Doom Tower boss to see how it works in that type of content also. So that's my start. Explained how I came about this build. Crit rate, crit damage not high enough, and let's head over to some content and show Drexthar where he shines on my team in the end game. But before I talk about the end game, let me show you some beginner content. We always head over to the main place where a lot of players use him in the early game, which is the spider. He comes in there and becomes the champion that makes the spider get HP burn on themselves by allowing Drexthar to be hit. I put together this sample team that is beginner player friendly, and then to see how Drexthar can help make it happen. Let's do a sample run and see what happens. As you can see, Drexthar is like the main champion that will make it happen. Cold Heart will only hit once and just sits there waiting for her turn, which will take forever. What do you call it? Amiga right there to keep the Tometer down consistently. Terrell to help with that also and decrease defense, while Apothecary boosts us further and further. So let's see what happens. Drexthar is the right affinity to be targeted right here because Spirit affinity will always target force. They will always target force. So you can see him being resisting the HP burn. Resisting the poisons. And as they are hitting me, they are getting HP burn on themselves. Any spiderling that hits Drexthar gets the HP burn. So when they take their turn again, that's when the HP burn start ticking for 3% of the boss's max HP. Everybody in the team, all the enemy teams do take a hit from that HP burn. That's the good thing about this debuff. And it looks like he's about to go down, but Apothecary is there to keep him alive. You might want to pair Drexthar with a reviver. Yes, somebody like the Rector Drag. You know, I thought about it, but I was like, Apothecary can do the job. And it's a level 20 battle, so I don't. If I was going against 24 or 25 spider, then I might bring somebody to bring him back to life because he will go down. Maybe a Seal the Drake would be the option right there. And Drexthar goes in with the provoke, which with decreased attack also wins. These spiderlings would now hit him for less because originally they were doing too much damage. Let's keep the Tometer down to make sure this spider mother does not take a turn. He heals a little bit with that A1. He doesn't have any healing on himself naturally. And Cold Heart comes in there to keep it more down. So HP burn was not the only way with dead damage. Drexthar is fully capable of soloing Spider 20 content. Is fully capable depending on if you have that high HP, high defense, and of course a set like lifesteal, like I said, that can always make sure he heals back to full. Then if you have lifesteal on him, you wouldn't need an Apothecary. That's why I was stressing how important lifesteal will be on this champion. All right, that's a 2-minute run. can be a 1 minute run if Cold Heart's second hit takes it down. If you don't have a Cold Heart, also this will be a successful run. It only take maybe 3 to 4 or even 5 minutes, because the boss will end up getting a turn, or Drexthar will go down and somebody will revive him. So that's the run for Spider, and that's how most people use Drexthar. Remember, if you book this champion, those HP bomb will land more on the Spider links. If you do not have books on them, it's a 55% chance, and it's a very low chance that the HP bomb will land. Drexthar is viable for all other dungeons. Like I said, Fire Knight A1 right there, bring him in. He will help take down the shield of the boss, and when that shield is down, he doesn't do much. You need him for the waves, and you need him for that A1 on this and the Fire Knight boss. I'm not going to be showing that content, but I wanted to show you a sample dragon run to show you for content like this, where he can also help be the champion that keeps your team, or be the champion that does damage. If I take out my poisoner, he can also keep the team going. I wanted to take that champion out that does fear and put in somebody that maybe just boost us up and heal us. So in this team also, I'm putting in a poisoner to help for the boss, and Drexthar is the champion that will be soaking up all the damage. I'm talking about be the champion that everybody will attack, because he will place provoke on the enemy waves, and they are all going to be attacking. Let's do just a sample run of this first wave. That's all I'm going to run, and I'll end the battle right there. Let's see what he brings to this battle. Provoke. He's only able to provoke only 2 out of 5, because it's a very low chance. Even as booked as he is, it will be 100% if the HP bomb was already out there. So after these 2 beginner content, let's head over to the end game content, where I use him in the Hydra and in Doom Tower also. I'm not going to be doing a clan boss run in this one, because that will just take so long, but he's viable in that content for early game players who don't have a lot of options for champions to bring into the clan boss. But once you begin to get better champions than he can do, he's taken out of the clan boss and relegated to the dungeons, Doom Tower and Hydra. Come on, let's see what the HP1 does. Now that the HP1 is, why is it resisted? Okay, negative affinity, I guess. No, force against magic, he still got resisted. I don't know. Yes, that's weak affinity right there. I don't know why it was resisted. That was weird. He has enough high. Is this dragon 24 or 25? Why is my 400 accuracy being resisted by these low level champions? That's crazy. Hey, but it happens. That 3% is a crazy one. But Drexthar HP burn is what helps. Of course, the poison did help also. His role here was limited, but he will keep them burning, and then they'll go down. A better way to demonstrate this in the end game, if I head over to an end game content, which is Doom Tower had, I'll show you at high level wave content where this champion can help be the champion that is the only damage dealing champion on your team, and slowly but surely take down an entire wave of hard hitting difficult champions to beat. The only criteria you have to do is bring in champions that can keep him alive. I don't know if this is the most difficult one, but he is negative affinity here. He can be the champion here. Let's see. Drexthar will be attacked a lot right here. Let's put a quick team. Brogni. I don't need damage dealers. I need tanks. Which other tank can I bring in here? A cleanser. I need that. A reviver. Sealed Drake. There's my sealed Drake. The rice coal pasta. I'm not going to run this one all the way to the end. I just wanted to show a sample run to see Drexthar in action. Is that Drexthar? Am I confusing Drexthar for Candrafon? The both do look alike though. Alright, so with this sample team, you can see me going with tank, and Drexthar being the only damage dealing champion. Hopefully we survive. So something like this, it looks broken, it looks endgame, but yes, that is what you need him for. You can start this battle, walk away and come back, it will be done. So you might need a reviver or Soga the War Caller, any tanks, Vogods. Bring in tanks into this type of endgame content Doom Tower and let Drexthar do the rest of the work. So of course they will have a hard time killing. They are going for Drexthar, yes. I didn't talk about his blessing. Ooh, They almost took him down. I need to max out his abilities. I mean his gear, so he doesn't go down that easy. Nope, not today. Heal my Drexthar. If he had lifesteal, he would have healed to full HP right now. But Seal the Drake will keep him topped off. If he does go down, he will get revived. Hopefully we don't get blocked revived though with that Initue Bloodtwin right there. I hate that champion. So I better target him to make sure he doesn't do any block revive mechanic on this battle. So with Mitrala in this battle, of course, they will keep stunning themselves. If you don't have Mitrala, of course, you can bring in multiple ways to stun, not just Seal the Drake. Maybe somebody in a stun set. I'm talking about maybe a Sylar. So any way you can use to control the enemy wave while Drexthar goes to town with his HP burn, being the only way I'm dealing damage right there. I just wanted to show that HP burn. Of course, my blessing Brimstone is hitting them hard too. Mitrala, nobody else. Seal the Drake is not doing any damage. Not even my Helicat is doing damage. He's just here to keep us alive. So let's just read this first wave run and I'll end the battle and head over to the Hydra and show you a sample run of that Hydra battle where Drexthar is also the main champion. Well, not the main champion. One of the main champions doing damage with HP burn in that battle. So whether for early game or for end game, he's not a champion you put in the vault and forget about. He's one that walks all the way to the end game, and usually I just put it, go to YouTube, chill, and by the time I come back, the battle is done. So whether it's against any Doom Tower wave, Drexthar usually works. Negative affinity or positive affinity, they will get that HP burn on themselves, and I think this is almost the end. Get HP burn on yourself. Thank you very much. So he doesn't need to go out there and try to apply it and reapply it. That's what I love about it. He provoke will make sure that they keep reapplying that HP burn. So he's one of the champions, like I said, that has a way of consistently having HP burn on the enemy the entire battle. Not like other champions that will place it for 2 turns and then have to take a turn again in order to place it again. So no, Drexthar makes it extremely possible to, well, not solo, but with a thick team that can keep him alive and revive him and heal him and all that. He can take down any enemy wave, no matter how tanky they are. It will just gonna take a long time to do damage through only HP burn. Alright, that's how I was able to mostly clear Doom Tower content, both bosses and even the wave content. Drexthar with a thick team surrounding him, whether you can control them, stun them, sleep them, whatever you have to do to control them, while Drexthar is the main damage dealer. So it's not just against that, it also works the same way against the bosses that have those side arts. So that's, Drexthar is also in my team right here. This is not a joke. This is not a champion that will say I did just for a video. It's a champion that is actually in my teams. So he's the main source of damage in this entire team that took down the final boss of that Doom Tower. I do have a Doom Tower guide right here, I'll pin above to show you how I beat all the bosses and all the stages. You'll see him feature a lot of times in that guide. So check that playlist out. The final content I'll show Drexthar just before we end it is of course the Hydra, where I'll show a sample run of what he does for that team, where the provoke will come in extremely handy, especially against the Hydra boss that wants to, you know, cleanse all the time. So whether it's for Doom Tower hard or for brutal, he will come in there and my stats can make that happen. So if I head over to the team I put together for that, I do have Ninja in there bringing HP burn, but Ninja's HP burn is not as consistent as Drexthar. No, Ninja is just there for the big nukes that he can do, but he's not a consistent HP burn champion that you will rely on. Drexthar for HP burn wins over Ninja, but Ninja does proc it, so that's a lot more damage than Drexthar can do. So this is a battle that I usually put on auto. Well, I want Drexthar to be the second person to provoke, not the first. So usually I start the provoke with this champion, and then Drexthar can go in next and do his provoke next. And then I put my block, buff, debuff. Ninja comes in there with his multiple hits. I'll put it on double speed so Drexthar can get back to his ability. Now there is already provoke out there. I will not let Drexthar use his his provoke right now. I usually start with Drexthar's A1, but check out, they are reapplying HP1 on themselves. Drexthar goes in there with the A1, he didn't land it. Why? But hey, don't worry, that head came up along and put a HP bond on himself without Drexthar even trying. So now that it's time for Drexthar to use his HP bond right now. Let's see if he does it on auto. Let's see what he does on auto. I think I prioritize his HP bond. That's what I need it for. Place HP bond on that head. Do it. Do it. I'm waiting. He applied HP bond on himself again. Come on. He cleansed everything. Damn. Why is Drexthar so slow? I guess I need to max out my gear and put some glyphs on all on him to get him a little bit faster. He's taking a long time to take his turn. But check out, they tried to steal his buffs and failed. HP bond right there. Even with a low 55% chance or 75% chance, I still was able to land HP bond on that champion. That's what he does. He will reapply HP bond on all these enemies and always be the champion that, you know, gets HP bond on these heads. That's the best way to do damage in the Hydra. All right, I've hyped Drexthar a lot, but he's a champion that is worth every hype that you see him getting in raid. If you're a newer player who just pulled him, remember, lifesteal is the best set that you can use to keep him alive in every content, because this champion is tanky enough to survive and he will be used everywhere all the way to the end game. Now you notice I did not use Drexthar in PvP content is because we do have a lot of better champions for that content than Drexthar. Drexthar is built for PvE, is best known for PvE content than for the arena or 3v3 arena. No, you'll not see him being used there a lot. But if all you got in your team, by all means take him there. He can be a menace to deal with. Like you see me using him in a tanky team in the Hydra, in the Doom Tower. You can use him in a PvP team like that to keep him alive, impossible to kill, always cleanse, always revive, and then watch him slowly bomb down the enemies with HP bomb. Alright guys, let me know what you think about this Drexthar guide, whether it's helpful to you for beginner content or for endgame players who have relegated Drexthar to only use sometimes. Maybe it's time for you to dust him out, reapply new artifacts on his gear, and make him high stats again for you to be used in Hydra, brutal, even nightmare content, and also in Doom Tower highest level right there. Hit that like on this video for me so other players can watch it and see it easily, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Raid Shadow Legends content. Let me know in the comments below which champion I should feature next in my next champion guide. Later guys.